Hello the internet, hope that you're all well. Thank you very much for stopping by. I have another product review and indeed unboxing for you today. Today I am looking at the new Apple Watch Series 9. It was released on September the 22nd. It is now lunchtime on Sunday the 24th of September. It came late last night and I thought I'd share my experience of opening it with you, have a couple of days testing it and then do a review at the end of the video. This is for a product I bought myself. It's a long time coming replacement for an aging Apple Watch. And on that subject, how often do you change your smart devices? Do you change them every year? I've not got the kind of money to justify doing it every year, especially since as myself and my wife, we change both of our products, so we just haven't got the money to replace them every single year. For example, this is an iPhone 14 Pro. We won't be changing that for a 15 Pro, probably not even a 16 Pro. It'll be the 17, I imagine, by the time we replace that one. I had the 11 Pro before that, which I traded in for that 14, and I still have my old 6S, which I keep for retro value on the shelf over there. Same goes for the tablets. We've got iPad Pros and iPad Airs in the family, and we tend to swap them every 2 generations. So 2 or 3 generations seems to be pretty normal, not just for me, but for my friends and family. But what about your watches? The Apple Watch has been out since 2015. It's 8 years old now. That is a generation 3. It's 6 years old. And I'll be totally honest, it's been failing for the last 3 or 4 of those years. The watch face itself, it comes and goes. It sometimes reads a bit like a mid-90s Sega Game Gear. The swipe only works ever so often. The crown is sticky and barely ever works. And I would say it's 1 in 5 times does the heartbeat kick in when I'm doing any kind of exercise through Runkeeper. So it's been long overdue, the replacement for this watch. But I've been holding on for a big jump in technology. And the Apple Watches only ever improve very marginally, don't they? I was kind of waiting for some kind of blood pressure monitor. Not for any serious health concerns, but I've always had migraines. I've had migraines since I was a 9-year-old kid. And whenever I get a migraine, I've got a Nokia stroke Withings blood pressure monitor, smart monitor there, which whenever I get a migraine, I do a blood test, a blood pressure test, and just to record what my blood pressure is like. And you always get a bit of a spike. So I always wondered if it was possible for a smart watch to be able to detect any increases in blood pressure and perhaps warn me of any migraines that might be coming on. But although they've spoken about it, it's never arrived. So I've been holding on for it, but it's not going to arrive anytime soon. So I thought, you know what, now is the time to do it. And I was particularly attracted this generation by the double tap. Now, I understand the double tap isn't actually available on release. The watch that's in there won't have it available until an update in a few weeks' time. I don't know when that's going to be. I've read sometime in October, so I've probably got 2 or 3 weeks to go before I can test that. So that won't be featured in this review. But I'm looking forward to testing it out because I think that's quite a good thing. Because it's the amount of times you have to have your other hand available to interact with whatever it is that's happening on your watch. I think that's quite a good idea. So I'm quite looking forward to that. With the exception of the double tap function, though, there aren't massive improvements over the previous Generation 8 or indeed the Generation 7 before that. And that's why I ask, how often do you change your devices? Because I think with the Apple Watches, it's every 3 or 4 generations. While you wouldn't see much improvement from a Generation 8 or a 7, I'm expecting to see a huge difference from the Generation 3 to a Generation 9. So I need to be asking if what is in that box is worth the premium over a Series 8, which is still available. You tend to get about a £30 saving going for the previous generation, so I've got to ask, is it worth it? That is a 45mm GPS only Apple Series 9 watch. If you want the cellular version, they tend to be £100 premium, so £529 for the 45mm one. If you want the 41mm GPS only version, it's £399. Cellular version of that, it's £499. Like I say, you tend to get a £30 saving if you go for the previous generation, sometimes a bit cheaper if you find it on offer. So is that additional cost for going for the new one worth it? If you're perhaps a Series 7 owner, you'd seriously question it. But as I'm coming from a very, very vintage Series 3, I'm justified in going for that, at least I hope so. So let's open this up and see how we get on. Okay, that will be a tempered glass screen protector. I'm not bothered about that at the moment, but this will be the Apple Watch Series 9. So let me take my trusted Swiss Army knife and let's break into here and see what we've got. Now, they made a big song and dance on the Apple broadcast about their green credentials and the lack of packaging and all sorts in here, so it'll be interesting to see what's in here. So we can get rid of that. I think. Okay, let's get rid of all of that. And there is the Apple Watch presentation box. How do we go about getting into here? So I assume I'm going to open it up like this. Like I say, it's been 6 years since I last opened up an Apple Watch. How do we get into? Hello. Here we go. Here we go. Looks a bit swanky. This does. Carbon neutral. Learn about it at apple.com. So what have we got in here? In there we have a sport loop. Yeah, I've got a sport loop closure in there. You need the knife again to get in. Oh no, we don't need to peel off thing. There we go. Oh, always satisfying that is. Here we go. Right, I've gone for the Midnight Sport Loop, which is that there. I've always had the sort of fabric Velcro sport loop type things. I find them far more comfortable, certainly if I'm doing a lot of exercise, and they're just easy to stick on. The strap that this thing came with was just horrible. It really was. So that is the Midnight strap for the 45mm watch. And there is the watch inside there. So I've got a couple of tabs to pull off here. Here we go. Get my fingernails under it. One more. There we are. Right then. Does this slide open? Yes, it does, very slowly. And there we go. Designed by Apple in California and manufactured in China. Right, so that is the Apple Watch. How do we get into that? Absolutely no clue. Does that slide out? Yes, it slides out, doesn't it? Here we go. Get my fingerprints all over it. So that is the new 45mm Apple Watch face for Series 9. Okay, right then. What else we got in here? We have got, I imagine they're just some instructions and destructions and things. So, oh, it's the charging cable, that's what's in there. So we've got, oh, that's right, we do still get a USB, ooh, what is it? It's still a magnetised charging cable. How do we get into here? Pull that off of there. There we go, still a magnetised charging cable. Got plenty of docks floating around for those things, but USB-C connection on there. That's about it that's in there. There's not a great deal, so I'm going to get the watch strap on there and have a play with that over the next couple of days. I've got a treadmill down in the dining room, so I shall give it a good thrash on there, take it out for a walk, set it up with my iPhone 14 Pro, and see how we get on. So I shall catch you in a bit for a bit of a recap. Okay, so it is now Tuesday. I have had the Series 9 for 3 days and 2 nights, and it's given me the opportunity to draw a few early conclusions. First of all, it is a lot better than my Series 3 without being noticeably different. I'll explain that because that sounds a bit silly, but if you've gone from a Series 7 or 8, a Series 9, you'd notice virtually no difference whatsoever. From a Series 3, 4, 5 or 6, you may notice a jump up. There is definite differences, but it's still very, very similar. I installed it from a backup of my Series 3, so all of my settings, all of the apps, the face, they look all the same. So it's a very, very similar experience, and there's very little difference, except it just does things slightly better, slightly quicker, everything's slightly more efficient and reliable. The screen at 2000 nits, as it claims, that is really, really good. I've been out in the brief sunlight we've had in this British summer stroke autumn, and it is so clear to see. And if you've come from a previous generation, sort of pre-Series 7, these have now got permanently on screen. So does that affect the battery life? I'll come on to that in a short while, but over the last 3 days, I've had it on every night, and I've taken the dog for a walk a couple of times, just off shot here. I've been on the treadmill a couple of times. I've basically done what most people will expect to do during the course of a normal day. The battery, it claims to have an 18-hour all-day life, which, in fairness to Apple, they do claim that against some pretty rigorous daily uses of it. So is that accurate? Yeah, it probably is. If you're going to use it as a sleep tracker, you've got to charge it at an unusual time, because you can't continuously wear it. So obviously, at some point, you've got to charge it up. So what I do, and you get into a routine of doing this, is you can set a bit of it's almost like an alarm, a prompt to tell you, right, if it's an hour before you normally go to bed, stick it on charge for an hour. So I put it on either the bedside charger, or I've got little docks all over the place. So about 11 o'clock at night, I stick it on the one of these docks and charge it up for an hour, and that usually gets it back up to 100%. I then have it on all night long, and then all the way through till 11 o'clock the following night. So best part of 23 hours, going through a full sleep cycle, one workout, taking the dog out for a walk, playing in the garden with a dog, and general daily things that you might do on it, like reading text messages and playing a bit of music. I've noticed it's been down to between 35 and 38% for the previous 3 nights, which is fair. That's acceptable. It's on all the time, so yeah, I can just about live with that. Because the screen is a little bit wider than I think it was 42 millimeters. I think on that is now 45 millimeters. So we've got an extra 3 or 4 millimeters to play with. It doesn't sound like a lot, and it doesn't look much bigger on my arm. But it gives you so much more real estate. You can fit more complications on there. So I've been able to edit the face and put more on it, and it just looks better. And in operation, it works better. I like the fact that it's always on, so you don't have to move your arm up just to be able to see the time. That was a bit of a bugbear. That if you just want to glance down and look at the time, you've got to move your arm. And I know that's a first world problem, but it does make a difference. And all of the heart rate monitors, they seem a lot more realistic. I've got a separate chest monitor that I use on the treadmill, a Polar chest monitor, and I've compared it against this, and it's within 1 or 2 beats, so it's acceptable. That is, so I'm quite happy with the way it's performing from a health monitoring point of view. It's been fascinating to look at the sleep data that comes up, because the Series 3 didn't have that, and it's been fascinating to see what my sleep pattern's been like for the last 2 nights, and it's how useful that is. Not too sure. I tend to aim for about 6 to 7 hours of sleep, and it tells me where I've been in a light sleep, deep sleep, and been awake. And it's quite a surprise that I wake up a couple of times in the night, and I don't know that because I fall straight back to sleep. But it's interesting to see that. The tracking, or the GPS tracking, and I use Runkeeper. I know a lot of people use Strava. There's a Apple built-in one, but I use Runkeeper. I've been using it since about 6 months after getting my first Apple iPhone 3GS. So I've been using it 11, 12 years, something like that. It's always been reliable to me, but it was a bit clunky on the Apple Series 3. It wouldn't always detect that I was actually doing any activity, and if it did, very unlikely it ever picked up any of my heart rate. But so far, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty consistent, so I'm happy with that. Beyond that, is there any other differences? Well, the main difference between the Series 9 and the Series 8 is double tap, and in practice, I have got no idea. In theory, it sounds like it's really, really good. Basically, what it means is that instead of, say, your alarm's going off on your watch, you don't have to interact with your other hand. You can do that, and it silences or stops or starts whatever the app is that's currently live on your arm. You can control the main function with a double tap. I say in theory it's great, and in practice I don't know, is because it doesn't actually work yet. Not until Apple issue an update. They're saying sometime in October, but at the moment the double tap doesn't work, so I can't comment on how it works in practice. I think it's going to be really, really good, because there's certainly times like when you're up a ladder, or I'm playing snooker or something. Even when I'm playing pool last night, my watch started buzzing at me. It would have been nice to just do a double tap and silence it. But I can see where it will be beneficial, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that's like in practice. So beyond double tap, which I've not been able to test, there aren't a huge amount of improvements over the previous generation. The screen is fantastic. It's so much brighter, obviously, than the Series 3. I can't tell you how much brighter it appears from the previous generation. It says twice as bright. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but all I can tell you is out in the sunshine, it's very clear and easy to read, and it also goes down to a very, very dark screen brightness as well, which is great, obviously, when you're lying in bed with the sleep tracker and stuff like that on. Other than that, there's got ultra wideband improvements, so it should be able to detect your smart devices a bit better through the Apple Find Me function. There's 3 separate apps, one for finding your phone tracking your smart devices like your Apple tags, and also for finding people. And I mean, I use a smart tag for the dog. The dog's got one on its collar at the moment. I can see where she is in the world. It's quite useful. Other than that, not a huge amount of improvements. The battery life is exactly as what it was before. The sizes are exactly what they were before, so you've got 41 and 45 millimeters. There's a few different colours to choose from. The Ultra has had a few improvements to it, but I'm not bothered about that here because I'm not testing the Ultra. So there aren't a huge amount of differences. So do I recommend going from a Series 8 or a Series 7? No. I don't. There's no reason I can see for going from a Series 7 or Series 8. Save your money. But if you are upgrading from an earlier watch to that, it makes sense. Yes, you can go and save £30 by going for a Series 8, but no bother. You may as well spend that extra 30 quid and get the newer one, and then when Double Tap does arrive, you'll have the best smartwatch there is going. And Siri's listening to me at the moment. She's dictating to me, and that's another thing. Siri, it might not just be to Series 9, but the Apple Watch operating system has improved a little bit, so you don't have to say "Hey Siri" anymore. You just need to say "Siri," and then it will start listening to you. I don't tend to use Siri very much because we've got, in fact, my phone's listening to me at the moment, but so we've got Alexa dots all over the place, so we're on the Amazon system, so if I've got a question I usually ask her. So you've now got a bonus dog's backside in the video. So am I justified in upgrading from a Series 3 to a Series 9? Yes, definitely. From a Series 8 or a Series 7, really I wouldn't bother. I'm happy with my purchase. £429 at time of review for the 45mm GPS only. I wouldn't bother with the cellular one myself. I had cellular on my previous one. I had an EE contract which cost me £5 a month to start with, but that's obviously gone up over the years. And then during lockdown, our lifestyles changed, so I found I just didn't need the cellular contract. Cancelled it, and I haven't noticed any different. With the exception of a few times I might want to go for a fast run, I've always got my phone with me, so it doesn't bother me. I'm quite happy with the GPS version. The 45mm screen I think is worth the upgrade on a 41mm, so I'd go with that. What do you think, Storm? Yeah, I agree. You just want to get your face on the internet, don't you? Yeah. I shall wrap it up there. I hope this video has been useful to you to help you decide whether the Series 9 is the smartwatch for you. I certainly think it's the right one for me, but it's up to you to decide whether it's the right one for you. So, until next time, I'll see you then.